Today, I'll be discussing Infogram, an application for quickly creating interactive and shareable infographics. An infographic is simply a visual used to portray various types of data and statistical information. Infogram relies upon a number of prefabricated templates that the user can edit. However, within this, there are a number of affordances. We're free to rearrange, edit, add, or delete any elements that we like. The interface is simple and clean, only requiring the user to choose their preferred graph or text box and enter their desired information. This allows for users with minimal graphic design experience to easily create appealing infographics. There are a few options that may take a bit of time to play around with and understand. For example, I spent a few minutes figuring out how to add statistical data to a map of the United States. While Infogram is exceedingly easy to use, it definitely does not succeed in granting creative freedom to the user, and herein lies one of the largest constraints of this interface. The options one has in creating an infographic are limited, and the user is unable to change the overall aesthetic from that of their chosen template. This would not be too much of a problem, but the user begins with only 10 templates to choose from, meaning that almost all infographics made with Infogram will look exceedingly similar. Infogram is also limited somewhat by its platform, which has not been optimized for mobile devices. Infogram is convenient and intuitive to use with a mouse and keyboard, but using a touchscreen on a smaller device is an entirely different story. There's no mobile application, and even though it's technically possible to use the service on a phone's internet browser, it's anything but easy. It is impossible to zoom out on the page, obscuring the full view of your work. This is an application intended only to be used on a desktop computer. That being said, it isn't a terrifically large issue, as there aren't many times when you would be making infographics on the go. A unique feature of Infogram is that it doesn't just create static images. All of the infographics created with the service are interactive, showing various types of information when you drag your cursor over them. These infographics can be shared on social media platforms and embedded on websites, meaning your work can be shared far beyond Infogram. However, this also means that these infographics are far more cumbersome and difficult to share than a traditional image file. Infogram is undoubtedly dependent on a number of types of digital literacies, and the creators themselves are aware of this. Network knowledge is placed at the forefront of Infogram. There are a large number of options for sharing your work on various platforms. To make the most of Infogram, you'll need to spread your publicity through a number of different networks. To facilitate this, there's a built-in service to monitor the views that your work has collected. You can see overall views and a unique viewer count. Additionally, you can see your overall view count or focus down on a single piece of work. Infogram can be used on your own, but work can also be created collaboratively. Users can link their accounts to form teams. Users with collaborative literacy will be able to make the most out of this service. That being said, one of the biggest constraints of this interface is the issue of accessibility. The pay-to-play mindset absolutely dominates Infogram, requiring a paid subscription if the user wants to access any content beyond the absolute bare necessities. There are 3 paid tiers of access, ranging from the Pro option at $15 a month to Enterprise at $166 a month. These options unlock a slew of other features, such as more types of graphs and the ability to download an infographic as a PNG, something that one might expect to be available to all users. A single custom infographic theme is included with the Enterprise package, and any others will run the user upwards of $800 each. This is most definitely not an application intended for single users, who could easily replicate anything made in Infogram with a bit of graphic design knowledge. This program would, however, be convenient for larger companies with large budgets who need a number of users without graphic design skills to create appealing products.